So you've been able to build relationships with so many artists, right? How have you been able to do that so successfully? Like, what is that process like for you?
You know, man, it's crazy because when you interview an artist like Memphis Bleak and he tells you at the end of the interview, yo, that was the best interview I've ever done. You know what I mean? When you do an interview with somebody like Cassidy and then you hear him reciting some of the same things that you guys were talking about in other interviews, you see that you leave that type of an impression on the artist. You know what I mean? Or it's just something that you do while you're there. Like when I pulled up on Casanova after he did the Don't Run record, and I just did something in front of him where he was like, oh, damn, Mikey T is crazy. I mess with Mikey T. You know what I mean? You leave your impression on these artists, like I remember when I first interviewed Ja Rule and I went up to the Crack House, their studio in Manhattan. One of my boys told me he was seen into the studio and they told Ja Rule, oh, Mikey T's here. Ja Rule said, Mikey T's here? That dude is crazy. You know what I mean? Just the fact that you leave an impression on these artists, you know what I mean? And you can actually continue the relationship. I know if, something happens for me tomorrow, that I could really call on a lot of these guys. Like if I were to go and do a major deal on MTV or Revolt or any VH1 or BET or E News channel, I know I could call on a lot of these guys just because of, the rapport that we set up and, the memories that we set up and shit like that.
Do you think that you're kind of like the Eminem of the hip hop content creating space, where it's like you're accepted, but at the same time not fully?
The Eminem of the content creator. Wouldn't that be Adam 22? Wouldn't Adam 22 be?
No, hip hop content create. Because Adam does some things that is not really like hip hop. He does a lot of stuff that's just not purely about hip hop. I feel like because you cover almost like that golden era of hip hop, right? He's more of like the drill, like these other guys.
Yeah, I gotta
You
be
don't
like
see him as much,
I gotta be like the 50 Cent power of the dollar version of the hip hop bloggers, you know what I mean? But shit, man, it's just crazy because just keep on doing my thing and keep on traveling to all these different areas and shooting. When you do go out in public, you get your flowers. You know what I mean? I remember one of the last video shoots I went to, it was Tony Moxberg, Benny the Butcher, all them guys on a record called Love. And just the love that I was getting out in Yonkers was crazy. So it's like, you know what I mean? I wouldn't really compare myself. It would have to be like a very Slim Shady era Eminem, you know what I mean? Before he got really like ultra big. I would not put myself on the Infinite Eminem type of level because that Eminem was just kind of trash. You know what I mean?
You didn't like the Infinite version?
I did not mess with the Infinite version of Eminem. Although I haven't listened to that shit extensively, you know what I mean? I was just more into the Eminem that came in. I was really more into the post Slim Shady Eminem. Slim Shady LP was not my favorite.
Mm-hmm. So you're talking like Marshall Mathers LP and Eminem Show. Like that's when he was like at his peak, where it was crazy. I mean, like after that, he still got way bigger and everything. But like, I think for us, like
8 Mile right there, and then they made him do the album that he didn't really want to do, Encore, and it was just about as good as everyone, you know what I mean, as he wanted it to be. It wasn't really that good. I thought the Marshall Mathers LP was better than the Eminem Show, but the Eminem Show was definitely a lot lighter. You know what I mean? That Marshall Mathers LP, man, that album will induce depression. I'm not even lying. that Eminem will induce depression. And then the Eminem before that, the Slim Shady LP Eminem, was just a little bit too, like, I'm not trying to go into my rap records and listen to old stories about when you had to beat people up in, middle school and grade school and shit like that. You know what I mean? Even though I was living through some of that shit in my life, fighting in, that level of age, that low of an age, I didn't really want to hear that on Eminem rapping about, D'Angelo Bailey and shit like that back in the day.
That's what some people have said, that his music has not aged very well. you know. But if you would say you're a compare yourself to a rapper in the content creating space, who would you say? If not Eminem, who would you say?
I think that was it. 50 Cent, Power of the Dollar. 50 Cent, Power of the Dollar. That stage.
So real underrated, not getting your enough props, but still respected, right? Still out here hustling.
And also pretty good. You know what I mean? Because
Definitely good, yeah.
Power of the Dollar, great lyrics from 50, not necessarily to the level of what Cormega was doing and Nas, though, but really freaking good that made you stand out. And like also using street metaphors that you just weren't hearing, also giving you a feeling, a real visceral feeling of will he make it? Will 50 Cent end up somewhere? How will 50 Cent act when he makes it to the mainstream? How will Mikey T act when he makes it to the mainstream? You know what I mean? Different type of shit like that.
You gonna forget about us little people? Is that what you're saying?
50 Cent always goes back to Southside Jamaica, Queens. Then
That's true. That's
you
true
know what I
though.
mean? He always gives back and shit like that. Yeah, and if that little bitch 6ix9ine can run around giving away $100 bills, I can do the same shit. Well, you'll see all the blogs.